What's going on, guys? Try back again. Here to bring you another video. This video is going to be doing my who would win breakdown matchup between viewer recommended Shane and the Governor. So this is a matchup people have been asking for me to break down for a little while now. With this one, we kind of have to look at it in a certain light because the Governor as a villain is the type of villain that is sort of like your criminal mastermind type of villain, but at the same time, that's from Rick's group's perspective. He's not evil to the people inside Woodbury for the most part, unless they F with him or try to leave, and almost nobody's dumb enough to do that, so he's pretty good to them. But to outsiders, he would be classified as sort of like your criminal mastermind. Whereas Shane, on the other hand, he fights his battles himself. And even though he was the leader of the group before Rick got there, he was an okay leader, I guess you could say, but, he wasn't great, and it seemed like a lot of the members of the group were either going to try to leave or, overtake him or do things like that. Like Merle says to Daryl in Season 3 that they were planning on robbing the camp. And not only him, the whole thing with Ed beating him up to the point where his face was, just like mangled. Just everything that was happening with Shane when he was a leader at the beginning. Kind of leads me to believe that he's not as much of a leader as the Governor is. The Governor is somebody that really takes advantage of survivors in zombie apocalypse and uses them completely to the point where he almost doesn't do anything himself. We did see him when he attacked the soldiers or the military guys. He did come in to the front by himself, so that was a little bit of a dangerous situation that you might think that he actually probably wouldn't really do. It just seemed more to me like the writers were trying to hammer home the idea that he's, the leader, he's in charge, and he's deceptive. He's very, he comes in with the white flag. He's all, being nice to them and saying, hey, we found your guy, all this stuff. And then, boom, he pulls out his gun, shoots, and everybody just gets, Merle and the rest of the guys just lay him out, every single one of them. So he is cruel at the same time, but he's also sort of like the type of character that I like to think mostly will kind of be involved with fighting, but sort of not on the front lines. He's kind of in the background, like when they attack the prison. He fires a sniper rifle from kind of outside of the gates, and he lets all the other guys who are on his side do their thing. He has somebody drive in and release the walkers and all that. He's not on the front lines, so to speak. Shane is a character that does, put himself right in there at the front lines, whether or not he's by himself or with a group. So for this matchup, we'll do it two ways. The first way we'll look at it is basically one-on-one, who would win, no group members, nothing like that. That being said, the first breakdown will be of them, just 1 versus 1, no extra group members involved. So that being said, they're both extremely deadly and ruthless. Now, Shane, I don't know if I want to say he's as ruthless as the Governor is. I'd say the Governor might be more ruthless to people that are outside of his group or people that cannot benefit him or help him out in any kind of way. So that being said, when it comes down to it, they're both going to go at it. They're both going to try to take each other out, let's say. Shane, of course, got his trusty shotgun, got his pistol, and not afraid to use them. Very good. Obviously has his police training, everything like that. Tough as nails, and, even good with his hands, like in a fist fight or whatever, as we saw against Ed. So I would give him the advantage in the close range. The long range, you got to go with the Governor because he's good with, your long range military weaponry, heavy duty rifles, sniper rifles, things like that, and is very accurate with them, as we saw with Axel. So in a one-on-one confrontation, the Governor is probably a little bit more sly than Shane. He's more convincing. He's more, I just want to say, tricky overall. He's a little bit more tricky for people to mess with in a zombie apocalypse. But even still, by himself, I don't think the Governor by himself is that tough. We kind of got to see it against Michonne, and she took his eye out and, messed him up real bad. Now, granted, she had a sword. He was unarmed. Granted. Yep, sure. But I don't know. I mean, I just would lean more towards Shane in that situation. I think Shane would take him down. Shane's tough as nails. He's also pretty smart. He might not be as tricky, so the governor might be able to get the jump on him a little bit. But I tend to think that with his accuracy, he's a little bit hot-headed. But I mean, that's not too bad when you get into a brawl, because everybody gets a little hot-headed in a brawl. Most people can't remain calm unless you're, got lots of experience or a martial artist in training and that kind of stuff. So one-on-one, I think I'm going to have to go with Shane, even though the governor is tricky. Now, the difference is when you get like other members involved. So let's say you were to give them each a month in a zombie apocalypse, and then at the end of that month, they threw down one against the other. The thing is that Shane might have a small group of people around him, a very small amount, but the governor, he, seems to really attract people in and use them, just like with Woodbury. Takes in all these people, creates a community, and really uses them, which is why I kind of think of him as a type of criminal mastermind, because he has, his thugs, so to speak, his structure of his group. Now, in that situation, obviously, he shines, and I think he takes Shane down, even though Shane would kind of be a bit like Rick against him, sort of. Except, of course, I think Rick is a much better leader, is able to keep members of the group together more. And like Daryl, for example, who hates Shane but likes Rick. So I think it would be really hard for Shane to really mess with the governor if he's given enough time to create a good amount of group. So in short term, just a one-on-one battle or within a couple days of a zombie apocalypse, I would go with Shane. But over the, like a long-term type of situation, like giving them both a year to create a group or do whatever they're going to do, I'd have to go with the governor if they're going to go to war after that. That being said, which villain do I like better? Well, in the TV series, we haven't really seen the governor's story arc completely play out yet. We'll see if it ends this year or not, or goes into season 4. But at this stage, even though I do like the governor and everything that happens with him and his group and Woodbury and everything like that, I felt like there was a lot more emotion tied to Shane. Now, obviously, because he was close to Rick, and that, that makes sense. But and he was a member of the group. But I felt like it was handled a lot better because he was, he was the good guy. He was in there. He was his best friend, all this stuff. And you really got the sense that they cared about each other. They loved each other. And then at the end of season 2, of course, crosses over. And because we're all inherently selfish, at the end, people have to take care of themselves. So as a result, he's going to look after himself even versus his best friend and do what he's going to have to do to to get his woman, so to speak. Or so as he sees it. So, I mean, this is kind of unfair for me to judge at this time because the governor's story arc is not over yet. But if I had to go, one versus the other in terms of who I like better as a villain and who I was more invested in and interested in, Season 3 I do enjoy a little bit more than Season 2 because of all the action and all the great things, the environments that we're seeing with the prison and Woodbury and all that, and all the different characters involved. But if I have to go straight villain, just look at the individual character of the governor and Shane, man, like I said it before, Shane is probably my favorite character in the Walking Dead TV show. He still is at this point. Even though there's so much going on, Season 3 is so exciting and everything like that, the governor as a villain versus Shane as a villain, I, so far, enjoyed Shane more. Now, granted, it'll all play out, and we'll see what happens with the governor at the very end. Should be pretty exciting. But I just thought that Shane made such a great villain because he almost wasn't a villain, I guess it depends whose side you're on. If you like Rick better, then yeah, Shane's a villain. But if you like Shane better, he's not really a villain. He's just looking out for himself and his best interest. And in a zombie apocalypse, those rules of society don't really apply anymore. So that being said, who would win? Shane versus the governor. My favorite villain out of the two would be Shane. In a one-on-one, I would say Shane, but in a group-type situation where they've both been given adequate time to form their own groups, the governor would take it, just being all those, everything that he's able to put together and build, like with Woodbury. I can't see Shane building a community of Woodbury with 70 people. He's just not that convincing. He's too hot-headed. He's too emotional. I don't think he'd be able to do it. And if they were to meet at that point, the governor would have so many people, Shane wouldn't be able to deal with it probably. Anyway, that's my breakdown of the two, which of the two I like better. I hope you guys enjoyed it. For other suggestions, please write them below, because I am running a little short on video tops, a little bit. So go ahead and write some below. And let me know, of course, what you think about this matchup. Do you disagree with me? Do you agree? Write below. We'll talk about it. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, saying peace.